Hi guys, it's Emily from Novel Novels and welcome to today's video. This is my October book haul and guess what? I've been good. I have only bought 19 books this month. Now, admittedly, I have been gifted 5, but I've unhauled 5 off my unread shelf, so I know for a fact that by no means my physical unread TBR is going down by quite a chunk this month. Which means I probably would have, because you're probably would have seen this after, you're going to be seeing this after my wrap up. So at the time of filming this, I don't know how much it's going down by. I do know that it means I can finally read some of my borrowed books, which is a good thing. And it means I can finally clear off some of my unread borrowed books that are just down there, which I think I might actually do a clip, so you might actually see that. But yeah, I've done really well this month. I do know for a fact that November's TBR, November's book haul is going to be a lot bigger because I'm going book shopping in November with the lovely Charlie from Charlie Book. We're going to Oxford, which is good. I know she's also bought me a book as a gift, which is very exciting. And then December's obviously going to be insane because December I'm going book shopping at the end of the month with the other Gemma from Read a Book Gem, who previously Read a Book Gem, and obviously at Christmas. Although I'm not asking for Christmas books for Christmas from my family, I do know that obviously BookTube friends will probably go down the line, so yeah. But I'm not stressing. But anyway, the whole point of this is I was good this month. I only bought 19 books and that was me working at the charity shop. What is going on with me? What is happening? I've been good. Admittedly, I have been poorly, so some of the books I've bought have been full price, but do you know what? I'm not going to beat myself up. What I thought I'd do is, just for a difference, rather than looking through my piles, I thought I would actually count up how many books of each genre I've done before I film this. So I bought 7 historical fiction, 6 contemporary, 1 non-fiction, 1 middle grade and 4 classics, which is a real mix this month. Like normally it's either predominantly predominantly contemporary, predominantly not historical fiction. There is one book on my contemporary that could be classed as historical fiction, so I may get Charlie from Charles Heathcote to tell me because he might know the answer to that one. But enough waffling, let me show you the books I got. The first 2 are books that my sister Charlie from Charlie Book got me, which you would have seen on one of my vlogs. And that's the Penguin Book of Christmas Stories. So we've got Christmas Stories from Hans Christian Andersen, Angela Carter, we've got, who else? Dylan Thomas, Shirley Jackson, Truman Capote. I'm definitely reading this in December, so this won't be on my shelf for long. So I'll read it in December and then I'll give it to my lovely sister Charlie to read because she got it for me. But she wanted to get me that as a present. And then we're doing this thing at the moment, me and Charlie, where I keep buying her books from Baz Books when I see them, like if she requests them, and she buys me books. And she bought me one that's actually been tempting me on my own shelves, The Rose Queen by Katie Flynn. Look at the gorgeous spine, it's beautiful. And this is set in 1938, and then Katie is chosen to be Rose Queen for the annual Rose Fete. She's delighted to be treated like royalty for the day, but deep down she's desperate to leave the Welsh mining village she grew up in. Don't know too much. It's historical fiction. Really looking forward to that. Then, technically, these 2 books have been carried over from October, and they're books that Jack from Spread Book Joy sent me, because Jack is a sweetie pie. She sent me Wildacre by Philippa Gregory, which is the first in another series I'm going to be, heads up, you'll be reading next. I'm going to be reading that next year. This series is going to be read next year. I know Philippa Gregory's older books have been a bit hit and miss, but I've got 2 books, the other 2 books in the series, so I actually desperately needed this. And this is set in the English countryside at Wildacre Hall. I don't know, this is 18th century woman. Oh. The 18th century woman is a neglected creature, but in the future of her heroine, Philippa Gregory has apparently defined a certain kind of wildness. So I don't know very much more about this. Oh, there's actually another postcard. I think she actually sent me this postcard and she's got Danny's name on it. So she meant to send that to Danny. I'll have to put that away. And yeah, so that's really good. This is set in, doesn't say actually where it's set in, but it looks gorgeous. So I'm going to put that to one side. Then she sent me Hearsay by S.J. Paris, which is another series, but it's a very big series. But this is set in Oxford in 1583. And it's Queen Elizabeth returns to the country, to the Catholic faith. So this looks really good. And then I got sent a book by Tandem from Mail Out. So I am blitzing listening to the audiobook of the 4th in the series. This is the 5th in the series. Do you guys know how much this is killing me not to look at this too much? Because I'm reading the 4th at the moment on audiobook. And I keep checking the character list to find out who survives the war. And I've already had a sneaky peek, which is really bad. So I can't read too much into this because I'm reading it from the Mail Out. So I better hurry up and listen to my audiobook. But those are the gifted books. And they're all going to one side. But these are the books that I bought. Like I said, I've got them in genre, not in order. So I will show you these. And I'm so excited about all of these. I'm really glad this is not going to be a long video. First one is one that there is a little thing at our charity shop, which is staff are obviously allowed to see the books as they come in. But certain authors you're not allowed to buy straight away because you want the public to buy them. So there is one book that I've had that was put by for me for nearly a month, in the hope that if if obviously a customer requested it, the customer would get it first. But this is the Winter Garden by Kristen Hannah. I love Kristen Hannah's books. I've loved all of her books. She is an absolutely incredible author, and this is one I'm going to be reading in January. And this is, God, it's dark when I'm filming this. This is historical fiction, so I believe it's set in the wartime. Meredith and Nina Whitson are as different as sisters can be. Great, another sisters book. One stayed at home to raise her children and manage the family apple orchard. The other followed her dream and travelled the world to become a famous photojournalist. But then their beloved father falls ill, and these estranged women will find themselves together again. And it's set, and then we got here. It begins with a story that is unlike anything the sisters have heard before. Oh, so they've got sisters. On his deathbed, their father extracts one last promise from the late woman in his life. Oh my goodness, it's a story. Oh, about story, and it's yay! Reading that in January. I can't wait for December. I can't wait for February. This is January all the way. Looks amazing. And this one jumped out at me because it's another one that's been on our shelves for a little while, and this is LGBTQI+ book set in historical fiction, so I like the two mixed. And it's the Victorian gossip mongers are called them petticoat men. This is going to be saved for next October, I think. But to young Mattie Stacey, they are Freddie and Ernest, her gentlemen lodgers. She doesn't care that they dress up in sparkling gowns to attend the society balls as Fanny and Stella. She only cares that they're kind to her and they make her laugh and they pay her rent. Then one fateful night, Fanny and Stella are arrested, and Mattie, outraged but staunched, is dragged into the shocking court trial held at the newspapers all over the country as a scandal of the century. I say October, this may get read before then, because it does look really good. Then one of my favourite Chinese authors is Lisa C. And this is The Peony in Love, and it's very pink. Charlie, yes, I got a pink book. Don't have a laugh at me. My lot think it's great fun that I read pink books. They're trying to get me more girly again. I don't want to be girly. Peony has neither seen or spoken to any other man other than her father, a wealthy Chinese nobleman. Nor has she ventured outside the cloistered women quarters of a family villa. As her 16th birthday approaches, she finds herself betrothed to a man she doesn't know, but Peony dreams of love. So this is like 17th century China. So this is very old, but this looks really good. Then at the moment I'm gradually trying to get through my Auschwitz books and my historical fiction books set in the wartime. But this one jumped out at me because rather than sisters, it's the brothers of Auschwitz. And even though this is historical fiction, this is, I believe, some basis for non-fiction as well. And this is about brothers that were in Auschwitz and their lives change, and it's literally... My brother's tears left a delicate, clean line on his face. I stroked his cheek and whispered, "It's really you." And yeah, horror to war. It's Holocaust and it's very hard hitting, but it's one I want to get read. Then the guys at Baz Books finally found me the last in the Seven Sisters books that I needed. This is the Seven Sisters, so another series to be read next year. And this is based around Tiggy de la Pease. I don't know too much about this. I know that it's the one I needed. I know that I'll be reading one. I'm planning to read basically the 7 books, so every other month, and then I think May, June, July I'll be reading 3 of them together. So that's my plan. So I'll be reading January, March, May, June, July, then September, then October. So I think that works out. But yeah. So one I needed. That's going downstairs. I'm trying to also organise it because some books are half upstairs. Then another book I bought when I went book shopping with the lovely Charlie from Charlie Brooke is The Sandalwood Tree by L. Newark. This is set in India, so I wanted to get a few more historical fiction books set in other places. And this is in 1947, while Evie and Martin Mitchell and their 5-year-old son moved to a new home at the foot of the Himalayas. But cracks appear in their marriage as Martin, the Jewish veteran of the Second World War, fails to bury unbearable wartime memories. Okay, and then when Evie finds a packet of damaged letters concealed deep beneath the brickwork of their bungalow, she becomes captivated by the scandalous stories they tell and the friendships of two unconventional Victorian women. It's very, very fascinating. This is actually looking a lot better than I thought it would. And then a Jojo Moyes book, because she's kind of one that kind of gets me a bit hit and miss. But this is The Girl You Left Behind, and this is, again, this is actually set in 1916, and this is on my charity shop as well. So this is one of her historical fiction books. French artist Edward Lebeau leaves his wife Sophie to go and fight at the front. So this is First World War, basically. When her town falls into German hands, Edward's portrait of Sophie stirs the heart of the local commandant and causes her to risk everything, her family, reputation and life, in the hope of seeing her true love one last time. And then nearly a century later, Sophie's portrait is given to live by her young husband shortly before his sudden death. This is about basically two young women separated by a century, and they're united in their determination to fight for something they love the most. This looks really, really good. I'm really looking forward to that. Now to my classics. Basically, Victober has inspired me to get loads of great classics because I've got so many. I'm doing a classics for 2023 list, which will include, I think, 10 classics. And then I'm doing my Dickens project. So I've got a lot of classics planned for next year already. So I needed to get more backup. So I'm starting to buy backup classics for next year already. And a lot of people have been speaking about Lorna Doone by R.D. Blackmore. My sister Charlie and me are buddy reading it at some point. And this is one obviously to save for October next year. And this is about, I've heard lots of things about this. And it's again a bit of a sensational novel, I think. And Sally Shuttleworth's introduction examines the novel, I don't know. So ideally love and high adventure and Victorian social value. I don't want to know too much, but I do know that it looks really good. So that's the one that it's World's Classics edition, so it's not matching any of my editions. You know what I was doing with that video. And yeah, it looks interesting, and it's apparently about an unsophisticated farmer who falls in love with the beautiful and aristocratic Lorna Doone, kidnapped as a child by the outlaw Doones on Exmoor. This could be interesting. But this is a Mahusive one. Actually, it's not that bad. It's about 700 pages, so it looks bigger than it is. Could be good. Charlie wants it. Charlie wanted me to get it. Then, inspired by my book waffle group, I got the Iliad. Apparently, the Odyssey. There was a classical. We had a copy of the Odyssey, but it was a Wordsworth Classics edition. Apparently, that's not a great introduction. So I'm using the Penguin Classics for the Iliad. I'm hoping I like it. And this is the first and greatest literary achievement of Greek civilization, and it focuses on the critical events of the last year of the Trojan War, which led to Achilles killing Hector. I've got a few modern books on the Greek wars and everything, on the Trojan Wars and things like that. So I want to kind of read a mixture of the classics with that. So that might be a project for another time. It's not very long. It is literally 400 pages. I'm hoping I like it. Then because I loved Wilkie Collins, I'm just finishing, the day of filming this, I'm finishing Armadale, so you guys will know before I do what I think of it, but I loved The Woman in White. I loved The Moonstone. No Name is actually not one of Katie from Books and Things' favourite classics, but it talks about a legitimate people. And then it's supposed to be quite good actually. A Family Secret, basically for its family secret, the Vanstone daughters' illegitimacy, again because they're illegitimate, they don't have a name, they consequent disinheritance and fall from social grace, and it's revealed early on. I've also got another one, The Law and the Lady by Wilkie Collins, so I'm trying to collect quite a lot of Wilkie Collins' books because I would like to do a project on him at some point. This is a medium length, but it's a Penguin Classics edition and it's gorgeous, so I hope I like it. And then last but not least, on the classics, the Old Curiosity Shop, which is for my Dickens project next year, and I hardly know anything about it, but it's Wordsworth Classics, so it matches all my editions. And this is a combination of sentimental and grotesque society concerned, and the story of pursuit and courage. which sets the downtrodden and the plucky against the malevolent and the villainous. It was a success apparently when it was first published. Little Nell quickly becomes one of Dickens's most celebrated characters. Don't want to know any more than that. Looking forward to that. So those are my classics. Now the next two are contemporaries that you will see on my December TBR because they're new contemporaries and they're ones that I was desperate for. Apparently, I was stupid. I gave away my copy of this. Apparently this is a part of a sequel. So this was part of I had the prequel to this, and this is Merrily Ever After. And I went to Tesco's and got it because actually the other editions in all the other shops are blue all the way around. But went to Tesco's to get it, so I got the pink edition. This is Merrily Ever After. It's got about Emily and Mary, and I think Mary was in the first book. Mary has always wanted a family to spend Christmas with. So this year her dream comes true, and she says I do to father of two, Cole. Do I get the book that I gave away? I may well do. And then Emily is so desperate for the waiting for the new year to begin so she can finally have a fresh start. She was always put her family first, leaving time for her happiness and love. I think I may get the book before that and have the two copies. Even though I've read it, I think I might buy it again in the charity shop. I'll look for a charity shop edition of it. But how gorgeous is this? This was me being poorly and me getting better and my treat to myself. And then obviously a book that I'm going to read. It's the last in the series, the most recent in this series. And this is A Christmas Celebration by Heidi Swain. I'm now collecting all her books. Not only is the author's writing amazing, she is also one of the loveliest authors I've ever spoken to. So she is now currently right up there with Page Toon, and I'm collecting all her books. And I don't want to know too much because obviously I'm reading her books at the moment and trying to get the whole series read before I read this. But this is when Paige turns up unannounced at Winthrop Hall. She discovers the place she knew when she was growing up has changed beyond recognition. One night, while delivering library books and shopping to the residents, she stumbles across an isolated cottage and meets Albert, its elderly and rather grumpy owner. She quickly realises there's more to Albert than meets the eye, and the same can be said for the other man she can't help running into, the handsome but brooding Brody. It's all read in December. Can't bloody wait. So both those two books are getting read in December. I'm always tempted not to put them away because I know they're getting read. And then a summer book. This is Sarah Morgan's summer book that she released this year, and I'm going to save it for next summer. But it's The Beach House Summer. I found it in my local charity shop near my house for 20p, and I was prepared to pay full price for it, £5. And again, this is a marriage in the spotlight, a beach house hideaway, and a summer of new beginnings. So we've got three protagonists: Joanna, Ashley Brake, and Joanna Whitman. So maybe two. Don't want to know too much, but this will be a summer book, so that's getting hidden for the summer. Now I've got a thing about older protagonists at the moment, and this is The Single Ladies of the Jacinto Retirement Village. This is a bit of a random purchase, but it's again about an older protagonist. 79-year-old Peggy Smart's life is as beige as the decor in a retirement village. Her week revolves around aqua aerobics and appointments with her doctor. The highlights of Peggy's day is watching the handsome neighbour, Brian, head out for his morning swim. As a woman of certain age, Peggy fears she's become invisible, even to men in her 80s. But then a piece of Peggy's past shows up in a barely aged, in 5 years, decades of her old friend, fashionista Angie Valentine, which sets Peggy on a path of self-discovery. That was really fun and fun. Now, a book that I'm not sure if this is historical fiction or contemporary, and this is The Music Shop by Rachel Joyce. I loved one of the author's books, so I wanted to get another one. This is set in 1988. Does that count as historical fiction? A bit scary, seeing as I was like 9 when this was written. And it's about a music shop. It's Rachel Joyce's work. I loved one of this author's work, and I really want to read more of it. So it just looks really good. So I'm gonna enjoy it. This is, which one I read? One of these. I don't remember which one I read, but hey ho, I loved it, so I'm going to read it. And then Mike Gale book, the last Mike Gale book I bought broke me, but this one looks good, and it's about male mental health, which is something that's not talked about enough. Ever since the incident, James DeWitt has stayed on the safe side. He likes to know what happens next. Danny Allen is not on the safe side. He is more past the point of no return. But it's funny, when the way of life you sometimes think, it's just when you think you know how everything goes, it surprises you. That looks good. And then a middle grade book that I thought I'd given Mia, but she doesn't seem to want to read it. So I thought, actually, why don't I read it? And this is Tamarind and the Start of Ishtar. So I'm going to collect a few more middle grade books. And this is Tamarind never knew her Indian mother, who died soon after she was born. So she visits her ancestral home, a huge house in the Himalayas, surrounded by wild gardens, and she's full of questions. But instead of answers, there's a forbidden silence. So it's really good. And then last but not least is my Cathy Glass book, and this is Daddy's Little Princess, which I think is one of her earliest books. And this is about Beth's story. Yeah, I don't want to know too much about this, but I know it's going to be hard-hitting, but I am reading all of her books. So that's all the books I bought and got given in October. I wonder what next month's going to bring, but I'm not going to stress. Life is what it is. Look at the weather today, it's absolutely awful. Anyway, let me know, guys, which books should I prioritise of these? Which books shall I save? Is there any you want to buddy read with me? Let me know down below. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you're new to my channel, not subscribed yet, ring on my ding-a-ling. And I'll see you all soon. Bye-bye.